they can go for showers and resources. So what's happening now every day is that the toilet, like the street is being used like a toilet. They've urinated on my property and my gate so much that like the gate and all of the garage doors have to be replaced. They've attacked, one of my female tenants who's renting out a room. She was sexually assaulted and also ordered Tesco, and the Tesco delivery driver who was dropping off the groceries was also attacked, and the van was mobbed, and so she's not able to receive groceries. And now all of the tenants, there's 27 people who live in the units, literally, 25 meters away from the entrance to the IPO. And there's 220 right now individuals that are living there, all men, various ages. They sell drugs, they have gangs, they have, fighting. They had a scabies outbreak about 2 months ago that hospitalized 6 people. The Garda have, said that they absolutely have the right to, air quotes, protest. Although when individuals were going out in front of Roderick O'Gorman's house for 3.5 hours, he said it's, absolutely unconstitutional and not fair.
But yet these are protesting outside your house.
A year and 3 months, 15 months of protest, air quotes. And the nonprofits come in and they try to help. You have also, right-wing anti-immigrant racist nutbags coming in and making videos antagonizing the situation on a regular basis, which is also unsafe from the opposite side. I mean, it's really unconscionable. The worst part about it is that we have written 6 emails to Roderick O'Gorman, every single TD and D2, D4, and also reached out to the Garda, every single nonprofit that's dealing with the situation. And now all of the owners and the businesses in the area are trying to pull together enough funding to launch a class action lawsuit against Dublin City Council and the government.
And the fact that you're telling me that, amongst these people who are living in the tents, there's gangs, they're urinating in public, they're destroying the area, they're attacking people, they're fighting, it's public order problem. Are the Garda Síochána dealing with those problems individually as they're happening? Are people being arrested?
No. I mean, the Garda, in private conversations I've had with individual Gardaí, they've related to me that they've been instructed to not antagonize the situation. And so therefore, unless it's something that's grossly, they'll have a chat with people and they'll shoo people away if they come to, agitate, for example, protesters that look like they might be getting violent, or, individuals, if they're being assaulted or catcalled or whatever, they'll intervene to the extent that they'll give them a stern talking to, in essence. But they're, an off-the-record conversation I've had with several of them is that their hands are absolutely tied. They've been instructed at the highest levels to not intervene, and this is
so you're telling me when the individuals who are living in the tents are involved in a public order incident, and you've spoken about many of those public order incidents, the guards are being told, leave it alone, just let's not, unless they do something very serious, just leave it be. We've never seen anybody arrested or taken away. That's incredible. And just getting back to your friend, by the way, who was sexually assaulted, what happened to her? It was an individual who, she was walking home at night from work, and now all of the ladies in the neighborhood walk in pairs or groups of individuals, and they don't leave. So we basically there's a couple other landlords in the area who have rooms for rent, and they've lost huge amounts of vacancy. Some of them are about to default on their mortgages and they're getting no breaks from the banks or lending institutions because you can't rent out a property that's literally in a public health hazard. And there's been no advice, but basically she was walking out by herself, and a gentleman grabbed her by the elbow, and she ran and she made the dash, and other people in the encampment intervened, and she dashed into the gaff, and then ever since then she's been living with her family back in the countryside. Did she make a complaint to the guards that she had been assaulted? Yeah, we did. We made a complaint. There's the amount of complaints, the amount of emails. It's hundreds of pages. And was anything done? Was anything done? Was anybody charged? No. No. They came down. That sounds like a purge, by the way. It does sound like the purge, doesn't it? It's macabre, honestly. I'm an immigrant of Ireland. I just naturalized myself. I'm now an Irish citizen, and I come from Irish heritage in the United States. And as an immigrant of Ireland, I've always been really proud of this country, but it's appalling. And it's honestly the politicians whom I blame. They're the level of apathy on their part
for example, like we can spin up a whole electric picnic in 2 days. And, I come from military heritage. You have the military barracks and Rathmines just sitting there.
Yeah.
Just sitting there fully, able. They have, all of the rings into Docklands corporate offices that are at maximum 20% occupancy. And I know they're not fit for purpose residences. They don't have, showers and those sorts of facilities necessarily.
Yeah.
But anything in this housing crisis,
Yeah.
anything would be better than this. I've never seen anything like it. And I used to work with homeless children in Skid Row in Los Angeles, where I'm from, where they have 350,000 homeless people. And this is as bad as I've ever seen. I mean, it's a public health crisis. It's a moral crisis. It's a socioeconomic crisis. It's terrible for the refugees who are getting harassed where they really are fleeing from a state. It's terrible for the individuals where they're just drug dealers that come in through Northern Ireland because Rishi Sunak doesn't want them back. It's really a deplorable.
Have you spoke to the refugees who are living in the tents there? Have you ever spoken?
Yeah.
And where were they primarily coming from? Or do you know where they're coming from? Have they told you, or do you think they're telling you the truth?
So there's a large percentage of like North Africans in the community. It ebbs and flows. Right now, there's a new surge of Palestinians, unsurprisingly. Of the 200, there's probably 20 or so that are of Palestinian descent. There's others that are of, Pakistani and other descent, and then a few Ukrainians as well. It's kind of a mixed bag, and it ebbs and flows because it's never. What'll happen is they'll have a movement where the charities will come in and move them into shorter term, longer term or stable solutions. And then the new wave will come in behind them. So it's a constantly changing, evolving door.
I can understand the loss of revenue for people renting out rooms or renting out apartments there, because who's going to want to rent an apartment beside that? Nobody. And this is a question I put to politicians recently. I mean, we were talking about the division in society and what's happening in Ireland currently at the moment, when you see refugees being moved into small towns or whatever it is in protests, right? And I said, I want politicians to be honest. If somebody said to you, I'm opening a centre next door with 500 refugees in it, would you like it? And, any politician who says I wouldn't mind is lying. They just happen, they're just be lying to you, because like you said, you've got now women walking in pairs because they fear for their own safety. Your friend is assaulted. They're urinating. There's outbreaks of disease because of the situation they're living in. I mean, I can't understand how this, and the Garda Síochána have been told to ignore it, essentially.